the Marlows. It's the Marlows with Mike and Anthony.
So it's another Tuesday, which means it's another episode of Us.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. We had an eventful one ourselves.
Yeah, it was eventful.
Yeah.
In a good way.
But again, it's just Tuesday, so we're trying to come off that. And you may be wondering why we decided to do our shows on Tuesdays and specifically at 2 or to release it at 2. And it actually is kind of symbolic of something that I've always thought about. I feel like Tuesdays is just the day that's just always kind of blah, And I remember working 9 to 5 jobs, and you wake up in the morning on a Tuesday and you're like, oh, it's Tuesday. Like, Mondays, you're kind of trying to get back in the swing of things. Wednesdays is hump days, so you're like, oh, we're halfway there. Thursdays, you're looking forward to Fridays, and Friday, right? It's Friday. Teacher, weekend. Thank God it's Friday, right? So Tuesdays is always just kind of like blah, mundane. Yeah. So I remember, when I was working 9 to 5s and being at work, there were times when I had, downtime, I guess you can call it that, but or self-imposed downtime, self-given downtime.
Right.
But I would be sitting at my desk on my computer and I would look at YouTube videos, or back then it was like MySpace and things like that, and I would watch people like B. Scott and even Funky Dineva. So and it actually just always put me in a good space, and that's what we want to do. We just want to bring a little joy to brighten up.
A momentary escape.
Yeah. So, just sit back, relax, enjoy. So that's the vibe we're always trying to give, in addition to sprinkling in, of course, a little bit of, I guess, like self-awareness, self-improvement.
Yeah, a little bit of something that might help you.
Yeah.
Again, we're not
self-edifying,
authorized giving
right. Self-edifying.
We're not authorized giving you advice, but, we share our experiences, and it might help you, it might not, but hopefully it does.
We had an eventful weekend, like we said earlier, so we just decided to just kick back and let's just talk about everything.
Let's talk about what happened.
So what happened? Okay, so I guess I'll start off because it was basically centered around my family.
Yeah.
So
tell them what was going on.
Yeah. So what was going on was my second aunt, great aunt, she passed away. She was the last sibling on my mother's side of my grandmother and her sisters and brothers, and she was like the last matriarch. That is, she was the youngest, but it was like all of our other grandmothers, our other cousins had passed and our aunts had passed, and she was kind of like the last
of that generation.
Yeah. So she lived a full life and everything. It was really a nice service, and actually it's crazy because coming back and experiencing all that, I don't feel like a heavy weight. I mean, it's like I feel lighter. I don't feel really sad about the situation or her passing. I mean, it was sad. Like when we got back home, I was like, oh dang, I'm really not gonna see my hat ever again, but it was good to see family. Like it's sad that when you get together for funerals, and that's how you have family reunions for most of us. But it was really good to see
impromptu family reunion. Basically.
Yeah, it was good to see all my cousins and my aunts and my uncles and stuff like that. And we were all social distancing, and we had masks. We
stayed safe.
Yeah, did a graveside funeral. It was really her. She was a very independent woman. She at a young age, she was struck with polio, so she always kind of had a handicap, but she never let that stop her. She was always independent, and the running theme of the service and of the wake and everything that's going on was that she was going to do what she wanted to do, when she wanted to do it, how she wanted to do it. She didn't care what anyone had to say about it. And that's kind of like the whole energy of our family.
I wanted to see what word you was going to use. I would definitely call it a very distinct family trait. Everyone in your family, in a very loving way, exudes that trait of, I'm here for a purpose, but I'm also going to do what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm. And so we'll listen to what your input is, but at the end of the day,
exactly,
it is what it is. But it was down in Charlotte, which is my hometown where I'm from. We actually rode down with my mother and her husband, and it was good just to, you didn't really bring up issues about personal stuff or family stuff. It was just, we're here to be together, to support each other. And what were you going to say? I know you have a thought.
I think that sometimes that's good. It's unfortunate, like you said, that funerals or homegoing services are the things that bring us together. But also what happens is when you have all this other stuff kind of floating around that's unaddressed or whatever, and you're going for this particular purpose, you kind of focus. So you kind of kind of push all that other stuff aside, and you kind of get back to what really is important. And in turn, almost, I feel like it helps you to heal or start to heal some of those other things.
Yeah.
You know, in a way.
The cool thing I thought was nice was that you were like included as well.
Yeah.
You know, like
very much so.
Mike did know my aunt. You know, he
Yes.
spent holidays with her as well, and she knew him, and we got to spend time with her. The last time we were in Charlotte for an extended period of time, and we spent like a day with her. It was there for another event, but we were the ones that kind of escorted her. She rode with us. Of course, she's older. She needed help walk.
Right.
But it was nice because my aunt was not the type that was crippled and like, oh, I need help. Like, she's like, basically, you were her walking cane.
Yeah.
She's like, I just need you for, just to get where I'm going. Like, I know what I'm doing. But she had a personality that was very, like, she was personable, but she would make you laugh.
Yeah.
So
she was very entertaining to be with. Like,
yeah.
Even that day you're talking about, it started out, and it's Anthony and I, with his aunt helping to take care of her, and then another family member or something kind of called him away, and I was still there. And then from that moment until the end of the day, I was her person.
Yeah.
She didn't even look for this guy anymore.
Right.
She just looked to me and was like, all right, take me over here and grab that for me. And so very, very included.
Yeah, it's funny because we didn't get a chance to see the obituary to like the end.
Yeah.
And then I know she's like, oh, there's a picture of us, and there was a picture of us with her, and it was my mom and my family included in the obituary, and that just. I don't know. It's like your family. You're like
I know,
family
right?
now, so
Like you said, when we got back and I was sitting there, and I was a friend reached out and was like, sorry for your condolences or whatever, and I was going to tell them, oh no, it's not my. And I was like, wait, that is my aunt.
Yeah.
I have spent holidays and lots of time with her. I've
gotten to know her.
Drove her around, got to know her. I've experienced her, and everything, all the comments from the service, I could relate to, because I was like, yeah, that's the aunt that I've grown to know. So yeah, thank you.
So we talked about how she was independent. She really just did what she wanted to do, how she wanted to do it. It's fun. That was a lot of the remarks that people made at her service. And I think a funny part was, so at the end, so there's a tradition with my family, like we always do releasing of doves. It's like you release 3 things for the Holy Trinity, right?
Yeah, he said 3 for the Holy Trinity.
And then they release another one that's supposed to represent what? I don't know.
The
actual
loved one.
The loved one, okay.
Yeah,
and
the spirit of the loved
one.
one.
Yeah, so every time we release the doves, it's 3, and then the one is released, and then they all join together, and then they do something in the sky, and they usually come back.
Yeah.
And I deal with my grandmother, my aunt, my grandfather, so it's
circle around.
And circle around, and come back.
Yeah.
So, so we do this. Mind you, don't forget, the running theme is that Aunt had to do what she wanted to do.
Exactly.
How she wanted to do what she wanted to do it.
Right.
So that's what the birds are supposed to do. They're supposed to do that. So they released
circle
the 3,
around,
right?
come back.
They released the 3, and they released the 1, and then we're all just sitting there waiting. And like a few seconds go by, we see the birds, and then they just disappear. It's like, wait a minute, are they coming back? 30 seconds pass, 40 seconds, and then finally,
a couple minutes pass by.
Right. And then finally, this happens.
Family friends, the doves usually come back, but they went home. Again, Saint had it doing what she wanted to do, when she wants to do it, and how she wanted to do it.
So as you can see initially,
Exactly.
everybody had the same thought in mind, because I initially thought, I was like, dang it, how you can't ever cooperate, right? You can't ever just follow the rules. Like, it's over. It's like, she's like, no, I'm gonna go out my way. I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it.
Right. They said that 4th bird was to represent the spirit of the love that was going on.
And she done hijacked the 3 of the
Right. She took command of the other 3 and just said, we going here.
No,
See y'all later.
How you gonna hijack the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost? How you gonna hijack the Holy Trinity? Right.
Only your hat, right?
Right.
Take control like that.
I think a cool thing though is that it made us talk about how we want things to be, our final arrangements, and it didn't make it uncomfortable.
It wasn't a heavy conversation.
It wasn't like down and depressed, and have. It's like you always feel better leaving the like the place where my family's buried. It's in North Carolina, Charlotte, and it's a really nice cemetery. It's well maintained. There's a pond and everything. They have different options from cremation and burial to family plots, and then the mausoleums and the wall installations, whatever they call those.
Really a full service.
Yeah, and they're really, really nice. And then it's just, so when you leave there, and they offer so many things too. It's like they offer like to have display of your loved one's favorite things and serve their favorite foods and things.
At the graveside ceremony, you have a display of all the things that were really iconic or memorable about that person.
Right, and it kind of makes, so it's like if you have all that set up, it's like even as you die, it's like, well, at least I don't know what's going to happen after this. At least I know my body is going to be with my family in a nice, serene, peaceful place. And I don't know, I want to make whoever's here when we're gone, make them feel at peace too with my passing, you know, and I felt that, not just because of the services in the office and the services that are offered by the funerals people, but also with the fact of knowing my aunt. You know, she lived a full life. She did so much for other people. She was great in the community. Everybody said she was a mother to people in the neighborhood. So
and that makes me think about again referencing one of our previous episodes about funerals in the Black church, how they're not just sad occasions, they're celebrations. And it's like, and you did that, it's a celebration of, you know, I got through what I had to get through, now I'm going to the other side and it's going to be okay now. And your aunt's service really did kind of feel like that. It was like, you know what, like you said, she did live with polio, and then you had to think about her age and the time frame, the time period in which she raised her children and raised the community and did all these things. It was a rough time no matter what. So she you know, it's well deserved to have a very beautiful and happy and joyous.
You know, and it kind of speaks to this month is March.
Yes.
You know, Women's History Month. So everyone remember that.
Yes.
And she's just a representation. She's one representation of so many Black women that have helped molded other. She has a son, my cousin, and everyone talks about he's a great father, great husband, this, that, the other.
Core values.
Right, and they attributed that to his mother and other people, other young men. My cousin's age and so forth, came up and said, I remember, you know, your mother took me and she would feed me, she would let me, I was one of her own. She would fuss at me too. And so it really speaks to not just women in general, but Black women. And how they are like the glue that
held it all together.
And that's still holding it all together.
And still holding it all together.
And it just sucks that, you know, they kind of like, they're like they're overlooked so many times.
Consistently unsung,
which is why
consistently don't get their due.
Yeah, which is why I think this speaks on what the importance of what you were talking about. We watched if you know us, we were really big RuPaul's Drag Race fans.
We are.
In the last episode, Simone,
yes,
her presentation on runway.
May have seen my post, but her the statement of her runway look was just so beautiful. Go look at it. It's trending, you know, but it's a powerful statement to be a young Black man doing drag and expressing yourself in a world that's so polarizing and the climate is so rough right now. And then above that, to excel above your other fellow drag queens in the competition, to make such a bold statement and what is a fun and entertaining and usually very lighthearted show. So to really make that statement, and it wasn't forced. So
and he was speaking up for somebody else that's not him. Like
he wasn't taking the glory. It was like
he can say, "I'm a Black gay man. I go through my own stuff."
Exactly.
He said, "No, but I go through stuff."
Right.
Start trying to get her. I go through really crazy bad stuff too. But there's another. I need to speak up for my Black sisters, you know?
The world. Although the world that I'm living in, the world that I'm living in is rough, and I'm going through, but there's more to the world outside of the world that I'm living in.
Right.
And I think all of us can take a page out of that just to say, you know, acknowledge your struggle, but then also acknowledge the greater struggle that you are also wrapped up in.
Now we're recapping our weekend.
Yeah.
And if you watched our first episode, we talked about our relationship and how we communicate with each other and my tone and stuff like that, and how he came to understand it more, and how I tried to compromise. I tried to improve myself, but after meeting my family, you understood more. So basically, once again, Mike,
I got a reassurance of what we already learned to
that this is in my DNA. I cannot help it. And he talks about the interaction of my other family members and their spouses.
Right.
And so again, this is my family, and it's our funeral. So they're doing a lot of the planning and preparation. And Mike said he saw himself in a lot of the spouses because. They have the greatest intent in the world, and they try to be helpful, but we think so differently and we communicate differently. Like our tone is it's still authoritative, very direct, but not in a way which like boom boom, this one needs to happen.
It's just matter of fact.
Yeah, it's a matter of fact. But the thing is like, I think you said it. My mom said it was like we think faster than we can speak. So when we're trying to give instructions or trying to give anything or trying to say anything, we probably aren't making sense because we've already left that thought words in here. So to actually fully convey what we're trying to say, we'd actually have to stop and rewind to get back to what we were mentally.
Right.
So instead, we kind of give statements and things. So you're supposed to really just pick up from
little nuggets of information.
Yeah. It's like you're supposed to be where I am. Like I'm here. Like you have to consider all everything.
This scavenger hunt. Drop a little nuggets here or there, and then if you work fast enough, you start to see it's like, okay, I see what we're doing here. Or like one of those faded puzzles, like you have to guess what it is before it becomes clear.
Oh yeah, because it's clear in our heads. It's like, and we're like,
but there's a time limit. Yeah. You can't take all day. So
after a while, we're just gonna stop and look at you.
Right.
So
right. I saw that happen in a number of family members in a number of just situations. It was just a running thing. It was just, there would be the core family member addressing, a spouse, and it's like,
because it was like, okay, like example, see, I'm trying to respect my family, so I'm not gonna say who's who, but one of the spouse, we were in the car, and one of my family members, was in charge of the obituaries, whatever.
Okay.
So they come out, ask their spouse, where are the obituaries? Spouse looks for the obituaries. They're in the trunk, like under. I don't know. It's somewhere inconvenient that makes no sense. Right. To me, it's like, why would they be back there? We're on our way to the funeral. It's like they need to be handy. Like, so no one wants to go through digging through the stuff.
And mind you, as now being part of this family for a few years right now, I recognize this as flag number one.
Right. So they ask where the obituaries. Say, oh, they're back here. Da da da. And then my family member says they don't need to be back here because they're gonna get smushed. Me automatically knew. Okay, take them, carry them with you. They should be in the front seat with you, and hold on to them until we get to where we need to go.
That was the nugget.
That was it. We pulled off, and then the family member asked, where are the obituaries? And then they were still in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So they were to pull over and go look for the obituaries. We were short on time. I was like, stop, don't worry, I'll reach back and get. So I reached back and got them, and I handed it to the spouse, and
mm-hmm.
I said, them telling you that they're going to get smushed, they shouldn't be back, they're going to smash, was saying you need to hold on to them because it just doesn't make sense.
That was your nugget.
That was it. So I gave them that. So then we get to the site. They get out the car. Everybody's doing something.
Right.
The spouse is kind of standing there waiting for instruction. I guess we just stand there, just kind of
Right.
And then family member asks. Family didn't even ask. I don't know what they said. I can't remember what they said exactly.
No, nothing was said. That was the thing, because I noticed that family
They
member
just looked, right? And I know the look, and I looked at the spouse, and I was like,
and I started to mouth, "What's wrong?" And then we looked at the spouse.
Well, actually, before you get to, I was just gonna say, where are the obituaries? Go to the car and get the obituaries.
And this time I had just walked
right, because the family member was like.
Right.
And because they don't realize that when we're in charge of planning something, we have so much going on in our heads, we don't have time to really just give every piece of information, instruction all the time.
Minute details.
Right. You should be with us, and that's and I told the spouse, it's like, I know we're not the best in communication. I know we're not all that clear. It's like we expect you to be where we are, and I know it's hard. I said, trust me. Mike gets it, and he knows I'm working on it. I am trying here. Right. And it was funny because even with that, even in the midst of the trip, we're going to be real with you and say, our relationship is not perfect. Like, people say, oh, and like, no. It's like, we still go through stuff. And we went through stuff this weekend. It wasn't nothing, like, crazy, but
no, it was like,
I came to me saying, oh, I'm working on my tone, working on how to talk to you, this and that. I'm saying, I'm self-improving myself, I'm doing better, whatever. Trying to be a better spouse, trying to be a better partner. And so there were a couple times I felt like he was getting snippy with me just because I said something or asked a question. And the bite was just like, and I was like, okay, like,
right.
Where is that coming from? So, I think I did a good job at addressing it. I would see where he was, and I'd say, how are you doing? You feeling good? And whatever, or, I love you. And I say, so
as you say, I know something's coming.
Yeah, I said nothing's, and I'd be like, nothing is wrong. I'm not pissed or upset, or I have to give all these disclaimers, because quiet as kept, he can be very emotional.
Yeah, no,
he takes
it may
things
take
to
me
heart.
a moment to get there, but if I get to that point,
and I'd be like, no, please listen to the words I'm saying. Please I'm not telling you not to be emotional, but don't let them overshadow what's really trying to say.
Butter me up before you smack me.
Yes, so I'm like, I told myself, I feel like I'm always apologizing for my tone and everything, and I'm always working on it. And I feel like if I were to say or respond to you the way you responded to me, you know, it would have been a problem. It would be a problem. And I was like, I'm trying. I don't know. This or the other. And then he would say, well, and I said, all I did was ask this other day, and you responded with, like, I felt like you were, you know. And he would say, well, do you remember what you said to me? I'm like, yeah, I remember what you said. And I would repeat it. And I'm like, yeah, but you, or I wouldn't remember exactly what I said. I remember the thought or where I was mentally, but I don't recall what I said and how I said it.
Right. So like we'll sit there and it's like, you know, you actually said this and this, that, and the other. And it's like, did I really? And then we'll start to talk about surrounding elements of the conversation. And then he'll be like, oh, okay.
And it was me the whole time. I mean, before, I'm not going to take all of it. All the time. I'm saying, but just like,
it was balanced.
It was balanced, but a couple times it was me. It was like, no, you said this, like the way you said it. I was like, you know what? I probably just said it. I'm sorry. I was not angry or frustrated with you. It was like, I was just trying to figure out what was going on at the time. And I was like, so it probably just, and there was frustration based on something else that was pertaining to the subject, but it wasn't directed towards him. So it came out as if I was.
So there was frustration.
Right, but it wasn't him. So I'm like asking, I'm not realizing what I'm delivering. I'm not realizing what I'm putting out.
So basically, I'm telling him, like, you know, basically you're receiving what you're giving. So it's like, you know, if you don't like what you're getting, then.
Especially with my family. So when he gets around my family, we get around family, he kind of like, I don't say he takes a back seat, but he follows my lead, of course, because it's my family. You know, so he was like the last time I said, you know, you just asked me, what do you want me to do? Or no, I said, you said, just tell me what you want me to do.
Right.
That's what his response to me was. I was like, where did that come from? I was asking a question. He's like, yeah, but you see how you asked it to me? I was like, I just asked him. He's like, no, you asked this way. And I'm like, I had no idea. I apologize.
Right.
You know.
And when I brought it to it, and this is the good thing about it, you know, the relationship that we have, or if you really want to be successful in any type of relationship, is listen. So when I explained to him that, no, you really did have this type of tone when you said that, and I don't know why, it triggered like, oh, I know why, because I was annoyed with X, Y, and Z that had just happened before that. So
in that element, it was actually what was going on.
Yeah, you know.
Simultaneously.
Right, simultaneously, basically. So it was like, okay, I see how I can be frustrated. Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. And so it's like, it's okay. I get it. Like, you know, nature of the event. It's a, you know, impromptu visit south for, you know, homegoing service. So you can understand some
there's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
And then I had to do the same thing. I had to honestly, you know, admit, like, there are certain times where it's like, okay, my reaction to what you did, although my reaction was way over the top. Like, I didn't have to do that. Like, I did not have to say that and just disrespect your whole life right now. Like, that was not okay. I was just having a moment because.
You're not gonna tell what you said to me?
I actually don't remember. I just remember.
This nigga, him, he said, oh, I've been dealing with your nasty ass attitude this whole trip. And I was like,
that sounds familiar.
But I am so proud of myself because I was like, I did not, like, I could have snapped back at him, but it was the way I was like, what? And I was like, nasty. I was like, when I have a nasty ass attitude? It was so harsh. I was like, and I had to bring it up again later. I was like, no, seriously, I want to go back to this. I was like, I know we talked about, I need nasty ass attitude over this entire trip. And I'm going through conversations.
And I had to be like, okay, so it wasn't a whole nasty ass attitude.
I'm like, what?
That was a bit much. It was spicy at times, but it wasn't that bad, so I apologize. Spicy. Well, you just said it. Well, we went back and forth with each other. It was.
We didn't go back and. I don't think we went back and forth.
You have your moments. That's what we said. You had your moments.
Well, it's about to be a moment on the screen. You know, that's from like, nasty ass. He told me let me tell you, because people don't know the real Mike. They think he's like, oh, Mike is so quiet and soft spoken. Oh, he's just so chill.
Yeah, a few unfortunate souls out there.
And then he gets
gotten to meet the rest of me.
And no, he's like, he put his hand up. I've been dealing with your nasty ass attitude this entire trip. I was like,
I think I walked away.
I don't know what you walk. But you know how you get. You just start kind of when you get angry. You kind of pace and be walking around in a circle. And I was like, and then so it doesn't help for me to come back at him with the same. I'm like, it didn't make any. I keep saying I'm like, you know, I hate saying like a lot. I don't know if you I just knew it would not have helped to come back with the same energy. Right. So if he's saying I had a nasty ass attitude this entire trip, I need to take a step back. I'm like, wait a minute, what am I giving off? And I think I did that.
You did.
Right, and then we started to talk more, and we realized what was going on, and then
we were able to address that.
Right, and there was apologies made on both sides, and that's that. So, and it turns to like, you know, it didn't become an argument or a big fight.
No, it was just a very intense discussion.
It wasn't. Actually, it wasn't even intense discussion. It was that I think that was the most intense moment.
Yeah. Well.
And after that, you know,
You know what?
I didn't respond to how you said. I responded to what you said. I was he thinks I had a nasty ass attitude. I tried not to get into your demeanor and everything.
Yeah. Because I guess, and I get it from my mother and my father. Honestly, like we're pretty, even keel. I guess you say level-headed until a certain point, but there's no gradual build up to it. It's just
it came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it's like I was sitting there ironing and stuff, and I was trying to do his hair and everything, and then he wouldn't let me do. It. He was like, I was like, Mike, calm down.
I wish I could tell it's about to happen sometimes. Sometimes you just can't. And again, it's just the intensity of everything going on and other stuff. You recognize it and you.
Well, if it means anything, I think it might help to for people to know. I don't know, maybe. Well, I'm a Cancer. Like I think I said it before. He's a Virgo.
I am.
But like I think we have mixed signs. For instance, I'm a Cancer, but I'm a June Cancer. So my birthday's, well, you don't care my birthdays, but I'm closer to Gemini than I am. I'm very close to Gemini, so I can be kind of both, but I'm not as sensitive, I feel, as like maybe, or emotional as Cancers that are in July. But I do somewhat have like a split personality time. My moods can change and it doesn't mean anything necessarily wrong. It's probably because I have a lot on my mind. Or
right. And that's usually the thing when it goes from like almost like you're changing channels and it's like emotion. It's like, okay, there are several thoughts that are hitting and that's when you know your partner and he's like, okay, you recognize it. And he does the same with me when it's like, when I start to just completely shut down and it's like, I'm not responding or not communicating. I'm just like, It's like, okay, there's a lot going on. And then you just have to admit it. So, yep, I do have a lot going on. No, I don't feel like talking about it right now. Or you already know the stuff. And it works.
And you're Virgo. But
I'm sorry. Yeah,
no, it's fine. You're a Virgo.
But I have Leo tendencies.
You have Leo tendencies. I know you have Leo tendencies.
My birthday. You didn't
because
yours.
Well, June 27th. Fine. June 27th is my birthday. He's August 24th. He has Leo tendencies.
Yes.
And I know because my father's Leo, so I do recognize some things in him that remind me of my father. But it's only when you're upset and emotional. Yeah. That's when I see the more of Leo side. Well,
because it's like you're not in control of your normal situation. That's when that switch. I guess you call it a Leo switch or whatever.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So.
And you become a different personality. So yeah. So yeah, all that happened over the weekend.
I don't even think we covered everything, but
needs
to say family's important. Try to, if you have family that try to keep them close or try to stay in touch with them. Like, it's just important, and it does make your life a little bit easier at times. Like, I can say it was a lot going down there, driving back and forth, and just everything was going on. But I do feel lighter in a way. I felt like the family, especially her daughter, her granddaughter, her son, and her niece, my mom, they did a great job with her services, and everyone did. I feel like everyone did, their part.
It felt like they did their part.
But it was very her too. It was very...
Yeah, and it was very representative of your aunt. And I feel like for everyone that was there, and especially the closest, like you said, your cousin and your mom and the closer ones there, I feel like there was some level of healing. Or just, at least comfort. I mean, I think that's important.
It makes you feel better when you've done what you can to lay your loved one to rest.
Right, because when you do get to those moments when you miss... I'm thinking about some of the past homegoing services of my relatives. Like, you remember when you missed them, it's like, okay, but we laid them to rest so well. And you remember it was a beautiful day. We were with family. We laughed. We went here and we did
the best we could with the circumstances. Like, you can't stop death.
Right. So put the joy into it. And then remember, your aunt was a very joyful woman. So there was no need for a sad occasion.
A lot of the comments people say, like, she was a jokester. It's like, whether... Remember okay, going back to my family, remember you said, I definitely got it honest because the pastor, her pastor said, she would get around people and she'd have everybody laughing, and a lot of times she was talking about other people, and she had them laughing about other people.
A lot of times the jokes were about other people.
And again, going back to our first episode, was like, that's how she did it because she cared about people. She wanted to make people laugh, put a smile on their face. It was never,
there was never
any malice or
ill intent into it. Always out of love, and it's so very true. Like, even with your mother's comments when she got up to speak, she's like, I know we got a time limit, but this is my aunt. So basically deal with her. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. So reoccurring family trait, but it's a good one.
Yeah. It was nice that you were there too. I really appreciate you being there.
I would say stay safe and cherish your loved ones. Reach out to them, tell them you love them.
and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, the rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.
Right? Like, share, subscribe, all about
Please
videos.
do.
All right. Bye, y'all.